Hello everyone, and this is my review for WWE Survivor Series of 2012's pay-per-view. And basically starting off here, I personally thought maybe like the first half of the show, if not the first hour, the first half of the show was somewhat weak in my mind. It just kind of felt felt like it was kind of going through the motions of everything, almost like you were watching a Raw of some kind at this point in time. It was nice to see an extra Survivor Series traditional tag team match. It was just too bad that it ended up turning into more of a squash match when you added Rey Mysterio, Sin Cara, Justin Gabriel, and Tyson Kidd, Brutus Clay versus Tensai, the Primetime Players, and Epico and Primo. And you know, the team, the heel team ended up at least getting rid of Brutus Clay, but after that, it pretty much just became almost like a elongated squash match with each of the heels getting eliminated one by one by one, and of course showing off how well these faces were doing. And the match itself was kind of, I mean, the 8-man tag that Primetime Players and Epico and Primo with Rey Mysterio, Sin Cara, Tyson Kidd, and Justin Gabriel on Monday night was an excellent match. This one just kind of came off in my mind. The Divas title match, of course they attempted to do the whole Caitlyn gets attacked right before the match again, showing that it was Oksana there, Eve showing up, so more implication that, you know, Eve was behind it in that case. Now you know that it was Oksana attempting to attack Caitlyn in this case. The match itself between Eve and Caitlyn was it was an okay match. It was better than typical Divas matches, probably mostly because of the fact that they got more than just a 2-minute match out of this. The finish of the match was a little bit weak, but it pretty much went to the predictable result that Eve was going to go over in this case. So the match was okay, nothing too spectacular, but nothing bad in it from the match itself. Antonio Cesaro and R-Truth, you know, again, an okay match. You know, the crowd didn't really feel this match at all, at least in my mind. I wasn't really feeling this match either. It just didn't seem like it really fit in with everything that was going on. It kind of just felt like it was there. It felt like it was, you know, mostly there to try to help build Antonio Cesaro again, which isn't a bad thing. It's just you would like the United States title to have a little bit more meaning behind it, especially in all of its you know, defense in a pay-per-view setting. So once again, okay match. It wasn't anything horrible, but it wasn't anything great. It started, the show itself, for me, started picking up when they started going into the whole AJ thing. Personally, you know, it was a pickup to the show, but I didn't really think they went off too well with the whole AJ storyline of showing evidence that, you know, Vicky was doing something. I mean, at that point, they kind of just used it as more of a comedy bit, a comedy little skit, which it wasn't a horrible skit. It was just, you figured they would have tried to do something a little bit more serious in this case, but they went with the comedy side over the serious side. The one thing I did like, especially at the end, when you pretty much got to the point that, okay, Vicky's not allowed to hit AJ, AJ's not allowed to hit Vicky, or either one of them's going to get fired. I like the use of Tamina in this spot, because they haven't been using her for a while. It kind of seemed it did seem kind of out of nowhere, and it's definitely something to interact more in this storyline. You have Tamina probably backing up Vicky here, and she can go after AJ. You can actually have some decent matches here, and we'll see where they continue on with that. The skit wasn't, it was a pickup to the show, but it really wasn't, it wasn't all that great in my mind. This is where the show truly got going really well for me, was when they brought in the world title match with Big Show and Sheamus. Once again, they put on a very good show. It was a bit disappointing the fact that it ended up being in a DQ finish, and but the attack after the match, I mean, the match itself, it was pretty much like Hell in a Cell. It was physical, it was brutal, it was hard hitting. you know, and then you have the DQ finish, and then you have pretty much Sheamus just going after Big Show with a chair. This was a nice little spot, probably a prelude into a chairs match into the TLC pay-per-view next month. So obviously this will continue on for at least another month, maybe another month after that. But it was definitely a nice beatdown after the match, a good way of keeping that feud going, saying, hey, this isn't over with yet. You had Big Show kind of begging off of Sheamus in there. So that was a really nice, even though disappointed with the DQ finish, really nice way of finishing that off and saying, hey, this is going to continue on. Probably my favorite, one of my favorite matches of the night, which, I mean, some of these matches weren't all that great to begin with, but this was probably maybe my favorite one, which was the second Survivor Series match, the Team Foley versus Team Ziggler. I felt like this one flowed a lot better than the initial Survivor Series tag match earlier on in the show. Having Dolph Ziggler come back from behind, defeating Miz and Randy Orton to finish off the match, I thought was a nice touch and a nice way to push Ziggler, because obviously he's got to be cashing in his Money in the Bank here soon, so you got to make him look strong. I felt the match from beginning to end was fairly strong. You had they played up, of course, again to the dysfunction of both teams and how both teams weren't really getting along, but the match just felt like it flowed a lot better than the earlier Survivor Series tag match. So I ended up thoroughly enjoying the Team Ziggler versus Team Foley match. This pretty much brings me to the main event, which was CM Punk, Ryback, and John Cena. This triple threat match, once again, usually triple threat matches they can be very much hit, very much miss. I felt like this was a little bit more in the hit section, because you kind of had all the tendencies for a triple threat here, where initially they're all going at each other, and then, well, actually initially you had the two faces going after the heel champion, and then kind of all three of them going at it together, and then eventually Punk and Cena realizing that, hey, they need to team up to take out Ryback. They put him through the announcer's table, and those two went at it for a little bit. You had a little bit of Cena versus Ryback going in there as well, with Punk out of the way. I felt that all that ended up being really good in my mind. Once again, they went with it looked like Ryback was going to pull out the victory, and then a group of three guys come in there with Dean Ambrose and a couple of the other NXT guys that I'm not fully familiar with their names yet, but I will be here in the near future. But seeing all three of them come out there and beat down Ryback, it was a nice way of getting Ryback out of the match situation and avoiding from him being, pinned or made to look a lot weaker. Because I mean, it's hard to make a guy look weak when you have three guys run in there, beat him down, and then put him through an announce table. I like that. It was a nice way of keeping Ryback looking strong. He doesn't get pinned in this situation. And then, of course, CM Punk picks up the scraps, pins Cena, match is over with, and that was pretty much the end of the show there. So overall, I felt the Survivor Series this year, it wasn't anything spectacular, especially with the slow start that it ended out having. It was an okay show, definitely worth the time looking into and watching. The aspect is it just didn't come off all that great in my mind. So I would say it was an okay show, maybe about a 6 out of 10. It wasn't anything special in my mind, but for some other people, they might feel differently. I mean, this is just my opinion on that. But this is that is my review for Survivor Series of 2012, and I thank you guys for watching, and I hope you enjoyed.